Today we are covering my favorite games of 2022 so far. And yes, I'm aware it's currently August. This may seem like a really weird time to do this. In the next few months we're getting some absolutely massive games coming out. With Splatoon 3 coming out in a couple of weeks, Bayonetta 3 coming out in October, and then November we're getting the brand new Pokemon. But that's exactly why I wanted to do this video now. I feel like the first half of this year, and especially in the last few months, it's been indie games that have kept me coming back to the Switch. So by doing this video now, it won't be an entire list of just AAA games and the big first-party titles that Nintendo have come out with. We can also take a look at some of the other games that have filled my playlist. Also, I think it's important to remember these are all just my personal opinions about the games, and you might see it's a little back-end heavy. I didn't finish my PhD till April, so I got more chances to play games after that than I did before. But let's get on with the list, shall we? First up is a game that has literally just come out, but I am obsessed with, and this is Cult of the Lamb. Now take this all with a grain of salt. This game is by no means a perfect port. I am just in love with the gameplay itself. People who play on the Switch are citing that they've had issues and minor bugs throughout the whole of the game, and some people even saying it's almost unplayable from the bugs. I'll let you know as soon as they patch it though, but just bear this in mind when I talk about the game. If you told me this was the year cozy gamers would get into dungeon crawlers, I would have laughed. But this game is cute, dark, funny, and low-key disgusting at times. But the reason I love this game isn't for its smooth combat, incredible weapon design, or fun dungeons. No, it's for the stuff you do outside of that. You see, you're a lamb that starts a cult, and you must go out to not only destroy the non-believers, but also find others to join with you. And once you return from battling, you have all of your cult needs to tend to. You need to keep both their faith high and their hunger low, or you're gonna have issues. Not having enough beds for all your followers or dying on the battlefield will lower your cultist faith. And if they don't believe in you anymore, they will rebel. So to keep them happy, you have to put your cult members to work. They collect resources, and you can even get them to farm to help provide them with food. Every building is also built by you as well. So if you're fed up of your cultists pooping everywhere, it's time to make a toilet. It's basically a cult management sim inside of a dungeon crawler. Streaming it has been a lot of fun too. There's an extension that lets chatters become cult members, which means when they die of old age, illness, or get sacrificed, it makes it all that much sadder. If the combat thing isn't really for you, you can play this on easy mode, which makes the combat much more of a breeze, and then you can kind of focus more on the cult management sim side. Honestly, I'm astounded by the amount of content you get for your money in this game. All I really hope for is that they send out a patch soon so the Nintendo Switch version plays just as well as every other one. Next is Kirby and the Forgotten Land. We're staying on the cute theme right now. This game is honestly every Kirby lover's dream. And oh my god, is it so freaking cute. The game sees you run around spectacular levels trying to save the world. And you do this in classic Kirby style by sucking up everything in your path. If you suck in enemies, you adopt their powers, but you can even absorb objects too. Have you ever wanted to become a car? Or maybe a staircase? Because this game lets you do it all. This gave a really fun mix of problem solving and combat, and the levels were diverse too, which I absolutely loved. I also loved that there was gameplay outside of the levels. You had a little town to build up and even a little gacha game to play. My only complaint with this game is I wish it was longer. Also, this has to be one of the best looking games on the Switch. It really does look incredible. Next is a game I've never spoken about on this channel, and that's Endling. You play as a fox mum just trying her best to keep herself and her cubs alive. In an early cutscene, you unfortunately see one of her cubs getting captured. So the game follows the mum as she tries to track down her lost cub whilst trying to keep her current cubs alive. This means you can only travel at night, and you have to be really careful if you see any humans, but you also have to track down food to feed yourself and the cubs. Don't let the cute art style make you think this game is a walk in the park. It is definitely hard at certain points, and I even found myself holding my breath when I was close to a human. The game sees you go through many different terrains, and you have to be sure to move around a lot so the humans don't learn where you sleep. It portrays the reality of being an animal in a human's world beautifully. The cutscenes can be a little bit brutal at times, so just make sure you watch the trailer before you decide to pick this game up. Honestly, it's a difficult topic dealt with in an incredibly beautiful way. I do really appreciate this game. Next up is Xenoblade Chronicles 3. This for me is 100% a Game of the Year contender. I feel like I do not have the vocabulary to give this game justice, but I'm gonna try my best. This game is set in a world where people are born for one reason: to fight, with two great nations pitted against one another. However, it's not long before you bump into the enemy and discover there's more to your 10-year lifespan than just the fighting you're told you must do. Despite this game being set on a giant world filled with fantastic creatures and all things that you'll never find on Earth, the story is all about the human struggle of trying to make an impact on the world during your life. All 6 of the characters you control are voice acted to perfection, with every cutscene you spend with them making them come to life even more. Each of them fight for slightly different reasons, but every single one of them have the same goal. I am a sucker for a story-driven game, and this one was absolutely perfect. I spent the whole game rushing to get to the next cutscene, despite the fact that I thoroughly enjoyed the combat. Which, by the way, may look daunting, but I literally watched one YouTube video on the combat and I was good to go. This game was honestly such a joy to play. There were so many quality of life features in there that just made this game so easy. I haven't quite finished it yet. I'm over 35 hours in and I'm on chapter 5, but so far I can easily say this is one of my favorite games. Not every day will a game resonate so strongly with you, but this game resonated so strongly with me. The way the characters are portrayed in this game is truly beautiful. And take this as your sign, if you're curious about getting the game, that maybe you should give it a go, because this is a great one to start off with. I do want to do a disclaimer: the themes around like mortality and that kind of thing are really heavy, so just make sure you're in a good place before you play this game. So next is Soundfall. I've talked about this game a lot, so I will keep this brief. It's a music-based dungeon crawler where using your weapons in time to the music increases your damage. Not only is the music an absolute bop, the combat is buttery smooth, and I'm not even sad when I die because I get to listen to the music all over again. It also showed me that despite learning the bassoon for 5 years, I still have no sense of rhythm. It's one of those games which is just so different, you just can't stop going back to. No matter how many times I tell myself I'm not going to play it anymore, I end up picking it up. Then we have a game that I literally only played yesterday, but I'm going to include it in the list because I'm very intrigued, and it is Are OFK. Okay, admittedly, game might be a little bit strong of a word. We could also call it an interactive animation. The way you interact with the game is mostly picking dialogue options through a wonderfully scripted story about young adults trying to balance their passions with their jobs. It addresses themes like burnout and imposter syndrome in the world of music, and I love how realistically these are portrayed. This is definitely not a fairy tale story, and it is wonderfully millennial. And thanks to the amazing voice acting, if you close your eyes, it's literally like listening to two people having a conversation. It is so well done. And you also get to like control music videos. The music was so good, but the controlling part was really weird. It made me feel like I was in WarioWare. Not in a bad way, but I just didn't expect it. One other thing I really appreciate with it is at the start of the game, it asks you how you feel about there being a time limit on making dialogue decisions. As a dyslexic who reads slower than the average person, I really appreciate this option. I've only done one of the 5 episodes, but so far the only thing I feel with this game is that maybe my choices were inconsequential. Like normally with these types of story-based games, every choice matters and will affect your game. However, I have no idea if it's the case with this game, so I'll let you know when all the rest of the episodes come out if there are any different endings. But honestly, it's how real all of these characters seem and the genuinely cool concept of this whole game that sparked my interest, and so far I'm having fun with it. Next is a game I've played a lot of, especially with my family, and that is Switch Sports. I know, I have mentioned this game a ton. However, I do genuinely love it, so I'm mentioning it again. I'm fairly sure this is one of the only like party games that have come out this year as well. And I don't reach for it a lot, but whenever I go home to my parents or go to my friends' houses, I always pack this game, so it made the list. Also, I'm like 50-50 on whether to include Arceus here. Whilst I really enjoyed the game, I have not found myself going back to it whatsoever. In fact, I couldn't even bring myself to finish the game. But just for the fun I had shiny hunting, consider it kind of in this list. And next is Lost in Play, a game, again, I picked up very recently and I have fallen in love with. This is a point and click puzzle game and it is one of the best of its genre. I love it so much. But if you want to hear more about this game, just click the link here. I have a full in-depth look filled with everything you need to know. I'll see you next time. Bye.